Hello, everyone, and thank you once again for tuning in to the Real News Talk Show. I am your Real News host coming to you once again. This time, my topic is about DNA matches. DNA. You know, DNA is very important for everyone to know where they come from, who their ancestors are, um, just to know something about who you really, really are. And the reason I'm saying that because um, many times you grow up and you don't really know what's going on, and you know how you may hear talk, oh, that wasn't so and so's child, that was so and so's child. Oftentimes, many fathers, they raise kids that are not even their children when in fact the parents knew. And sometimes both parents knew, but the other parent accepted the child because of the fact that they loved that person, even though them and the person may have split up at a time, and the person went out and had sex with somebody else and created a child. Okay? Now, the child didn't ask for any of that. So therefore, oftentimes the man that the woman was married to oftentimes would accept the kid because of the fact that they, in the first place, they knew it was their fault that they ran that person away by being abusive, or, having fights and falling out, and they break up and they make up. Remember that song, Break Up and Make Up? That's all we do. You love me one minute, you hate me the next. And so all that kind of stuff goes on back in the days. And that's why, to me, songs are very important. If you listen to a lot of songs, lately I've been kind of going back and listening to many songs. I don't know if you guys heard this song, but it was a song that my sisters used to play because they were older than me. And it was called Party Lights. I see the lights, I see the party lights. They're red and blue and green. And there was this lady, she wanted to go to the party, and her mother wouldn't let her. And at the end, she was like, I want to go. I want to go. Her mother wouldn't let her go to that party. And so that was a song that this lady made up. Her name was Claudine Clark. And, I think she's still living to this day. If you Google it up, Party Lights, and listen to the lyrics to that song. So songs mean a lot. And the reason I'm back to the DNA thing, because a lot of times things like that happen, and kids, oftentimes they don't even know who they are, who their father is. Normally it's who the father is, because it's mama's baby and daddy's maybe, unless the mother tells the child that the man that she's with is not your father. That's a good mother that does that, because the mother wants that child to know. However, even if that other person accepted that child, she still wants the child to know, just in case anything goes wrong, hanky-panky, you know what I'm saying? So that's a real mother. Even if a situation did happen like that and they broke up and the mother went away and created a baby and went back to the man and he accepted the baby, if that mother lets that child know it wasn't her fault he ran her off, maybe she went and found love that she wasn't getting, not saying that it was wrong or right, but oftentimes way back in the days, that's how it was, because a lot of the men back in the days, they like women at home, barefoot, broken, pregnant. Now, oftentimes they wouldn't want them to drive, they wouldn't want them to go nowhere, they wouldn't give them no money, they wanted control over everything. And so that happens. So DNA is necessary, and I encourage anyone to go and do a DNA, because it's going to tell the story, and many times people are not ready for it. I'm just going to put it to you like that. Many times you will be shocked when you do your DNA, because when you do it, guess what? There are other people out there that may do it also that you didn't know anything about. So people are looking for their loved ones. People are looking for their blood just to know. I have a friend, and his cousin flew all the way from Hawaii He had no idea she was his cousin. She told him about all his ancestry. I mean, it was just amazing to know that someone really wanted to connect with their blood that deep that they would spend money to fly all the way from Hawaii to meet the family. I think it's beautiful because at least they know now. So now and all of that happens from taking a DNA test. So I encourage anyone to do it because I did it myself and I was surprised. It was really, really rewarding because I saw many cousins that I didn't even know I had. Many, many cousins, and they had my same smile, and you get to see all of that, and the way they pose and different things that you didn't even know, and your ancestries and where you're from. And 9 times out of 10, most of us, like me, I have 10 ethnicities in me. 10. It all starts from Africa and it goes all the way down through Europe and Asia and Ireland. And oh my gosh, you would not realize all of the different nationalities you have in you until you do that DNA. I mean, we all know the motherland. It all stems from motherland. But to know you have all this other stuff in you, European, Spain, Ireland, Africa, Asia, my God, Jesus, it's unbelievable. So I just really, really think that people should do that because sometimes people wait too late and they'll say, well, I'm going to do my DNA. I'm going to do my DNA. But when they do it, it's too late because the other parent is dead or relatives are gone, or then when you look it up the years that they passed, it could be just like that. And I have a girlfriend that was young when she had a child, and I had met her in San Francisco. I'm not going to call her name, but she was very young and she had a child. And because she was young and she was adopted, the adopted parents put the baby up for adoption because she was young when she had the baby. And I guess they didn't want to help take care of the baby. And my take is I feel that if it was a real parent, they probably would have kept that baby. And it was a boy. And so I told her, I said, well, why don't you go on the DNA and do the DNA, because it's going to link you. DNA catches murderers, rapists, robbers, killers, kidnappers, pedophiles. The DNA is real. It's real. And the reason I know it's real because I did it on several different ones and everything came all the way to where my parents was from. Now, that's deep. I mean, that those people knew nothing about me. All they had was my DNA that I sent in, and it linked me all the way back to where my people were from. Unbelievable. And even also it linked me to cousins that live in other states and then their children, And so it's just really, 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 really rewarding to do this. So back to my friend, and I told her, you should do a DNA. Many times people don't want to face up to those DNAs. So if they get surprises, just say, for instance, if the mother didn't tell the child, well, that wasn't your father that raised you. I know another incident of a client of mine that had happened to in the past where her mother raised her with another man. And she said she would look at him and look at her mother, and she didn't look like either one of them. And the reason why, because that man was not her father. She found out, her mother told her when she turned 18, and that was devastating to her because she felt like this man that I was giving all my love to was not my father when you, in fact, knew it when I was growing up. Now, that was horrific for her not to tell that child so that that child wouldn't be fooled. In her mind, she was fooled. So she thought that was her father. So when her mom told her when she turned 18, she's so angry still to this day because she just found out and wasted all her life not knowing her biological father. So she finally went to meet him overseas. That's where he lives, from the islands. And said she looked more like him than the rest of his kids. And guess what? All of them clicked because they're all blood. That click was just automatic. And so now, like she said, she's just torn apart because she feels sorry for the father that raised her. And now she goes back and forth trying to please two fathers. And she says, I'm so still angry with my mother. She says, right now, I just wish, she said, you can't help but love your mother because it's your mother. But then she said, when she did that to me, it just tore me up inside. And I just want to just shake her and say, Mom, why did you do this to me? I mean, that really put a scar on that child because that parent didn't tell her when she was young that the man that she was giving the best of her love to, when in fact she could have still been flying with her father, been home visiting her father, or knowing her father as a child. That can be very devastating. So many people don't want to do the DNA because of what they have to face up to. There will be many surprises, and many people will be just devastated, in fact, if they didn't know. If they knew, then it'll be like, oh, wow. Oh, my mother was right. I found my dad. Oh, she was right. And then a lot of kids grow up and they know something's not right. Like she said, she could feel something, but she went along with the program because that's all she knew. She went with what she had in front of her. And her mother should have, I don't know if she should, I guess the conscience of her mother had to tell the child, but at that point, that was a risk of her taking it because that child will never forgive her for that, You had me growing up without my father when in fact you knew that this man was not my father. That was really horrific. And that child felt her pain, But many people won't do the DNA because they already kind of know in their hearts, but some people don't want to face up to it. Oftentimes when people do DNAs and you try to reach out to them, they're going to run away from you. Another thing, say for instance, if you do a DNA and you find out you have other siblings, sisters and brothers, and they probably too could shy away from you because of the fact that their mother and father had all of them, and here you come popping up, but you didn't ask to be there. So I feel that if God did it, then they have to accept it. So, but I encourage anybody to go and do your DNA because of the fact that there could be many surprises, and before you leave the world, you should at least know who you are, even if it's just to find out your ethnicity, I mean, you'll be surprised to know how many different ethnicities that you are. So, yeah, definitely do the DNA. And like I was telling my friend, she was one of those people that she said, I said, why don't you find the baby? Why don't you find it? Because I'm quite sure he's probably out there on DNA looking for her. But in her mind, she feels that he probably would reject her. And I told her, oh no, he will not reject you because of the fact you was a child when you had. How can you reject a child? And boys normally understand, they be understanding. So I'm going to try to encourage her to do the DNA just like I am you. This is a Real News Talk Show, so you click like, share, and subscribe, please. Another thing about DNA, people, like if you do more than one, you know for sure that DNA is right dead on, because I did it more than once because I really wanted to see if this was true with all of these cousins that I didn't know I had. And so I did it more than once, and it came out to be true. So DNA don't lie, because DNA, I don't know if you guys saw this show, but it happened in Houston, Texas, where it was two guys, and they were friends. And they were friends for like, I think 15, 16 years. They had a very close bond together, and it's like they loved each other just, as friends. And oftentimes you can have friends and they flake away from you, or they move away, or something happens along the way. But these two handsome young black African-American men, they were best friends and they did everything together. And so one of them needed a bone marrow transplant. And so in order to get a match, he did his DNA, just like what I'm telling you. DNA is real. He did his DNA, and they linked him all the way back to Houston, where he was from. And so he got a call, and either he got a call or he called the person. I'm not sure. It was on TV. And they said, is this so-and-so? You match my DNA and you my best friend? They were best friends for all those years and didn't know they were brothers. Same father. See what I'm saying? Same fathers. They even looked alike. And so people were asking them, y'all didn't know, you didn't know that y'all looked alike? And they said people were kind of, they could feel, some people felt the closest, other people felt it more than them. They just knew that they were friends. And guess what? Their mothers knew each other also. Their mothers knew each other and had no idea that their kids was from the same father. Now, that's deep. That DNA, I think, I forgot which one they did, 23andMe or something like that. One of those. I did the Ancestry.com and MyHeritage.com. They did that and then linked them all the way back to Houston where they were from. Same DNA. Same. They were brothers. Now, that was a story. To be friends for 15, 16 years every day of your life and didn't know that was your brother. How deep can that be? Now, that's what DNA will do for you. It will link you together. It also, I've seen crime stories where that DNA, people thought they have gotten away. But if anybody do a crime and they have siblings, they're not getting away. Because their siblings could owe for tickets, get stopped by the cops, or go to jail for this or that. And when they run that DNA and it matches yours, that's going to track you down right there. DNA is something else, you guys. And it is real. When they came out with that, because there were many African-American men going to prison, many of them, because at that time we did not have DNA. Do you realize how many black men did time in prison for no reason at all? That hurts me to even say it. It's just unbelievable. And a lot of times people say, why is everything about black? Other nationalities would think that. But it's because all the wrong things have happened to us when it comes to going to jail, jobs, so forth and so on. Because some people feel like other races, well, all lives matter. And I say, well, all lives matter in God's eyesight. And that's what we want the Caucasians and the other races to know, that black lives matter too. Because all the other lives have mattered. And especially the white race, it has always mattered. So that's what, it's not about just black lives matter. But it's about when God created man, all lives matter. And that's why when you do your DNA match, you're going to see that you have white relatives. That's another thing that I pulled up on my DNA, and I had all different, I'm not going to show their faces, but I had all different. It's going to take you all the way down from Nigeria to white folk. So this is why people should love one another, because we're all of it. And a bowl of chips, the whole world is what God created. And DNA does matter, because it will link you to the same people that if the white people are prejudiced against black people, they will see that the black people have white people in their blood. And some of them have black people in their blood. Just like that president, was it Jefferson, whoever, he had all those black kids, and he was white. And then there was a Caucasian guy that found his first cousin. I think he lives in Atlanta, and it was on a show where he wanted to find him because he was Jefferson's great-grandson, just like he was. So they were all, blood. Blood. Only different nationalities, but blood. Only different color, but blood. You see? They had that same great-grandfather. They were first cousins. First cousins. So, excuse me. So that's what I'm saying about the DNA, you guys. So it doesn't matter who you are, who you think you are, what color you are, what color you think you're going to be, or whatever. DNA matters. So that's why everybody should love one another and try to get along. And that was why COVID came, because God got tired of all this stuff. So he shut everybody down, from the richest to the poorest. And when people wake up and they learn that, it will be a better place for all of us to live in, and everyone can be happy. So check out your DNA, you guys, and click like, share, and subscribe. And that's what I wanted to talk about today, DNA. Thank you for tuning in.